can show you right now is some insights of to one of our customer projects, but first let's tell a little bit about myself. So I'm Alexander Gesinn, founder of Gesinn IT. We are mainly working in the field of data information and knowledge management, and one piece is Semantic MediaWiki. I am personally working with Semantic MediaWiki, I think since 2007, 8, something like this, in various flavors. And what we are doing as Gesinn IT is we provide Semantic MediaWiki appliance. It's Semantic Core. It's a stack of Semantic MediaWiki with some patches and so on for the enterprise use. We provide setup and support. And that's part of the Semantic Business App solution we are building on. Maybe you have seen the flyer. So we create process management, project management solutions on top of Semantic MediaWiki. Some of our customers, so these are smaller customers with 40, 50 employees, but also big players like SAP, Carl Zeiss, or Virtustream, cloud provider. We work with various tools, not only MediaWiki and SMW, but also with Confluence or Information Workbench in the area of wikis. We work with messaging systems, message brokers like the RabbitMQ, workflow automation tools like Activity, BI, open source solutions, Pentao, Palo, and the semantic layer here with Allegro Graph, Protosheet for ontology engineering, and so on. So this is an interesting mixture of tools, and you can do a lot of nice things if you combine these technologies, I can say. So that's the advertisement block. Now let's go to the real interesting pieces. So one of our customers is Heliocentris. This is a Berlin-based company. They create multi-hybrid energy solutions for telecom, training, and research. So for example, in Dubai, for the mobile providers, they replace the diesel-powered aggregates by solar-based hybrid aggregates. And this company has around 120 employees at the moment, and they are spread around the world. Headquarters in Berlin. They have another company that's based in Munich, Dubai, and another location. So they asked us to provide them with an enterprise-scale wiki solution for their process management. So they found our Semantic BPM solution. They said, okay, they'd like to have the wiki on one way, the wiki style, to collaborate on things, and they want to have their process management in the wiki as well. So this was the starting point, and they asked us to have a cloud solution. So this is a word that's around for a few years now. Everything is in the cloud right now. And there's a little bit of difference of just hosting a wiki and a really wiki cloud solution. So the wiki I will show you right now is accessible in a private cloud we are providing for Heliocentris. This is accessible through VPN, so I have a VPN connection to the cloud area, but this is strictly private. So there is no public IP address or something like this. Physically, I would say the cloud is hosted in a computing center, but the computing center is connected with the Heliocentris network with a dedicated and secured VPN connection, firewalling, and so on. So there's no public part in this cloud. So that's the difference between hosting. If you just put the MediaWiki somewhere, the MediaWiki has a public IP address, which you probably don't want to have. So let's have a look. Hopefully my VPN is still up and running. So they call it Wiki Helio. Not sure. Is this from my computer that it shifted a little bit? Don't know. Yeah, they call the Wiki HelioWiki, and it's powered by our Semantic Core stack. And they have quite some interesting things here. For example, it's always interesting to come to the customer and start discussing what shall we do on the front page. We know we would like to have projects, we would like to have our processes. So there are a lot of ideas. What can we put into the wiki? What shall we put on the front page? We have good experience with some kind of a news stream, or an activity stream that's powered by the semantics. So every time something structure changes in the wiki, a new pop-up comes up here. So this is a little bit different from the classical recently changed page in MediaWiki where you see every change. This is, let's say, a filtered recently changed view. And in the first box is just a news stream. So this not only the chief information officer or chief execution officer or someone from the wiki team, everyone can post news within the wiki, within a simple form. And here you see what happened. So for example, on 10th of September, there was a post about PDM support in the wiki or the workstream of the PMI project. So you can go there and find out more about this news. So it has some header, some free text things and so on. So it's up to the users what to post there. But at least it has a few properties. So there's a news author, there's a main image, a release date. So there's a few semantics behind that news. And that creates that news stream on the front page. Here in this activity stream, it's the same. We have the users assigned, or let's say the wiki users, the technical wiki users have some additional semantic annotations as well. So for example, we see here a picture of Mr. Pricing. So in the news stream, you can not only show the wiki username, but also a photo of him. Let's take a look at some of the pieces that are in here. So here they have products and solutions managed in their wiki. I'm sorry, maybe I should switch my interface language to English. So you see one interesting thing here. As this is an international company, the questions came up very soon. Shall we put, or which language our wiki should be in? Shall we create a German wiki, as most of the employees are German speakers? Or shall we keep it international, at least English, to have our Dubai folks also read the wiki? And we discussed about having two wikis with inter-wiki links. This means you have to create the content really twice, and not necessarily the page structures match. And if it comes, for example, to a business process, it's tricky because you have to really do it twice on the German wiki and on the English wiki. Of course, things can be interlinked, but this is double work. So we decided to set up the wiki in English language, so the ontology and the properties and all these things is in English, but the content is provided on the most dominant pages in German and English. So they have these multi-language kind of boxes on the most important pages. And then it's up to the users to create the page either in German or in English. So that's a compromise, not a perfect solution, but if it comes to the language and the wiki, you can discuss endless. And it doesn't matter which solution you go, there will be 50% that the other solution would be better. So anyway, they have these kind of entry boxes here. Again, they have the recently changed things, but these are only recently changed things in the area of their products and solutions. So again, this is something that's filtered. So the Nexa DC 1200 page, which I would say should be a product, is the most recently changed. They have their products here managed in the wiki. They have product pictures here. They have tutorials how to use it, some technical data, and so on and so on. Back to the portal. So as you can see, they create portal pages for each category. So product has a portal page, the process area gets a portal page. So this is the main navigation piece. Also very interesting notice, they use color codes. So if we are in the product area, we have these green color codes. If we are in the process area, we have a different color, which makes it easier for the user to see where he is. Otherwise, you simply get lost in the amount of unstructured and structured data. So color coding is a solution here as well. One thing I can show you here is a list of all products. You see this gets a really long table. And due to the semantics, you can also use some kind of a filtering mechanism. So let's say we want to just have the products and the line manager Martin Sippel. So and the list now gets filtered. So this is how you can work with the semantic data. Otherwise, you get really lengthy lists that need handling, and everything here is created on the fly. This completely comes from the semantic backend. Okay, so that's the product area. Projects is more or less the same. Maybe one thing that Franz mentioned, they started here with the projects here on the left side. So before the wiki time, they have a lot of Word documents. Let's say a protocol, agenda document, a project sketch, whatever. And now they start to create structures for these structured documents. So you get a form for, let's say, a project sketch or for agenda, and they wikify their complete document flow. So they get rid of the Word documents and put everything in the wiki. This leads to another interesting question. Putting things into the wiki is easy, but how to get them out? Because we need to have a nice printout for our customers. And then things come to, oh, we need a PDF printout solution. And if you do some research, you'll find, oh, there's an extension here and an extension there. You try them out, you will see, oh, they do not work. Especially with the semantics, it becomes tricky, because what they try to do is they parse the wiki text, create HTML, and create PDF out from HTML. And the whole parsing process is really tricky if it comes to the semantics. It simply doesn't work very good. The simple solution is create a nice print view, create a few style sheets, and use a desktop PDF printer, which is available for $20, something like this. And then you can print your pages on the desktop. There are also other solutions that has an own PDF print server, but these solutions are dedicated to create good-looking PDFs from web pages. And the wiki engine itself is able to render nice-looking print views for the browser. So both together get the solution. Don't try using server-based PDF extensions, you probably might fail. So PDF printing is done here with an external PDF printer, just sending the print view of the wiki to the server. And with some CSS3 magic, you can have the line breaks and so on and so on. How much time do I have, by the way?
Still an hour.
Oh, shit.
Depends on how much you use.
Okay. Please, anyway.
Mike should be on his way.
Okay.
He left his home 40 minutes ago.
But what does that mean? Okay, anyway. If you have any questions, stop me, please. Otherwise, I can keep on running. Let's have a look at the process area. So this was one of the main drivers. You see different color coding. One interesting thing, if you put your business processes into the wiki, you might need something like an entry point to the whole process world. And in the process management area, there are things called process maps, which gets the first and second level processes on a compact format. And we did here some template tricks to create this view from the semantics. So this is also dynamically created. So if you create a new process, for example, in the management process area, this gets added here. So this is some template magic. And of course, you can jump into the processes by clicking here. You have your form again to enter Maybe we can show it here. So he adds some metadata to the process, like a short description is part of, so you can create process hierarchies. Is valid for, so this is valid for the whole heliocentrus group. You have thematic areas, exactly. So this is some kind of thematic grouping of different processes. You have some role assignment. This is important in the process area. So you have, let's say, a responsible, accountable, informed, so the RESCI matrix, and roles assigned to these responsibilities, and so on. So you can create this by form. And this is the process container. And the nice thing here is then you can add process steps. And as a result, you get something like that. So that's also created automatically from the semantics. So you add process steps and you say PLM, or the SGO idea decision board, has a follower, it's SGI preparation. So this is created also from the process step view. As you can see, so depending on the process, it could be hand optimized. So this is always a discussion. Create a fancy diagram by playing mouse jogging, or create something automatically. In this case, this is the solution is completely created automatically. You have the process steps, you have the events, this is the green boxes, you have the and or path thing here. Everything is linked, so I can go, let's say, on a CEO responsibility. Then I see the role CEO, I see the responsibilities here. I see where the CEO is involved. For example, in the try process, he's informed. In the M1 check call process, he's involved. So this is the RASCI mapping to the processes. So everything is interlinked, and with that you can automatically, or more or less automatically, create most of the parts of your integrated management manual. You have the typical standard mappings here. Therefore, control of records, for example, descriptions here. They reuse data that's in the wiki and so on. So this is completely driven. And the thing we are currently working on is complete KPI management. So later on you will be also able to add measurements, actual values, key performance indicators to processes and projects. That's currently a step to add more and more functionality. This wiki is up now for 383 days and it's working. So they have a Gardener team maintaining the wiki structures. They have a power user team. Every department has at least one power user for the wiki. So this is the way they drive the wiki for them. Also the structures, these are all driven by demands from the departments. Okay, that's one use case, spontaneous action. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me.
Gardeners.
Yep.
How many do you think you need for a wiki with a particular number of users?
It depends a little bit on what jobs they have to do. If it's really gardening, like maintaining double redirect pages, or looking at missing properties or red link categories or things like that, then this is maybe not that much. Things become more interesting if you get the users more involved. Then it might make more sense to, let's say, if there's a department structure or a process domain structure, depending how your business is organized, then there should be at least one to have really a team of power users that use that knows the domain knowledge for the process or the department, and is a power user on the wiki. So they should know what's doable with the wiki. and they should also drive the change process for the wiki then. So I would say if you have 10 departments, 10 gardeners would be nice. Okay. But no, it depends on the organization. Sometimes it's really 1 or 2.
Well,
And they invite others and have regular meetings. Technically, there is no need to have 10 gardeners. There is not that much gardening in the wiki. If they have a look regularly, let's say once per month, seeing if everything works fine, if there is contributions, or if there are, let's say, some dead horses somewhere in the wiki where it needs to be pushed a little bit, they need to ask the users what they need or why they don't populate content here and there. So this is gardening, requirements, engineer, domain experts, so it's a mixture of these roles.
well, so far we've been a fairly new wiki, and the number of pages has been growing exponentially, so I'm just concerned they'll just suddenly come a point where they can't cope with
Maybe you have some batch process running creating these pages.
it.
No, if users create them, you can be lucky.
But that's not the whole story, it's just being very enthusiastically taken up. More than we anticipated.
As long as these pages ideally have at least a minimum of a structure, let's say they have a category, maybe with that category a form and a template, then you can create, by changing the template, more and more structure later on. If it's really free text pages without category, without templates, then it will be more and more effort the more pages you have. But as soon as you have at least a small amount of structure, then things become easier in maintaining the whole thing later.
We do, but there's a default form for basic pages.
Mm-hmm.
If you click a link that doesn't exist, it takes you to a page that says create this page.
Right
that
page.
isn't directed to a form.
Okay.
So potentially then they just create it on a blank page. So our problem stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We could default it to a form, but then which form?
Yeah, sure. And for which properties to add there? The author is automatically, or the last editor is automatically maintained by the wiki. The last modification date is maintained by the wiki. So there is not so much value. What can be done, let's say a simple form can provide the user with a category proposal drop down at minimum, so that would be easier. So if you create a wiki a page here, it starts with an empty page, not even give you an idea what categories are available. And if you send the user to at least a minimum form with a category drop down, that would help maybe
Yeah.
for the main namespace, something like this.
Okay.
Isn't there a way to direct, to kind of just, how does it work? To direct the user when clicking on a red link to get to a form where you can choose from the forms available?
Exactly, but then information needs to be typed already a little bit. So if it's just a wiki red link, so there is no semantics behind that link, then depends if the namespace has a default form, that's what I mentioned, then it sends you to the form. But if it's just free red link without anything, then it simply sends you to the create page from the wiki perspective.
But I thought this was the idea to have a standard forum.
For the main namespace, yeah, then
It shows you the forms that are available.
yeah, if you add a default form for the main namespace, then you can send them to the default form instead of the standard create.
No, I mean you just have like an import box for the name title and a drop down where you can choose from the
form.
available. Yes.
Yeah, that's also that's yeah. You mean the formatted, special formatted page.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Okay, you can also send them to this kind of thing, and then you have the page name and the form as a drop down. But this only works for page names that are entered by the user. If you have a page name that's created automatically, then things become tricky. So depends a little bit. But there are, of course, ways to push the users a little bit more towards the use of semantics. And also here the menu helps a little bit. So if you have some main topics or thematic areas, put them really in a visible way in the wiki, in the menu, or create some portal pages for them to get it more accessible by the users. Okie dokie. Any more questions?
I have a very basic question about the main page, because I'm in the process of designing and creating a new wiki, and I just wonder, like, being a beginner, would it be easier to kind of use existing scripts, or not scripts, like existing code from other wiki pages and copy and adapt, or kind of to start from scratch and with the forms and classes and so on, but like mostly about the main page?
Of course, you can start from scratch, but depends on what you'd like to achieve. This can be a painful path. I would say simple queries, simple forms would be easy, but depending on your data structures, like the process view, this is more and more complicated. And that's the reason why we created this semantic apps thing. So we have a catalog, for example, if you'd like to manage people or organizations in the wiki, we have some default forms, templates, and so on we are using. But I'm also very often asked, why not just put it somewhere and give it back to the public? And the trickiest thing here is because it relies on the backends. So, for example, the whole process visualization needs really the right extensions in the right versions, and so on and so on. And you have a good chance if you take my template code and drop it in your wiki that it simply does not work. And then you come back to me, ask me, oh, I put your code, why not working? Putting some questions on the pages, complaining about why not responding. So this is nothing that's really can be shared somewhere. If you have some simple forms, you will find them on the web. But if it becomes more and more tricky, then it's hard to have some standard way. There's also a good book by Gesinn, who is the maintainer of semantic forms. He has put a lot of knowledge from his experience in the MediaWiki book. Put it to the cam. Some advertisement to Gesind's book. Now this is really a good starting point as well. That's recommend. Everything that goes beyond is really depending on the platform versions and so on.
Right. Maybe more particular about that main page.
Okay.
That is not available, right?
Sorry?
Like that is not publicly available.
No, but that's fairly simple. It's the ask query that queries all pages from category news, getting the author and so on, and then creates a template output, and you have an intro template, outro template. So that's basic kind of things.
And further down you had the list, right, which you could filter all the that was.
No, you mean on the for example on the products or the product pages. Yeah, that's the filtered format.
Yeah, it was that page.
That's the filtered format. You have a list of all products, and you have various outputs formats, and you can add filters to different properties. And the filtered format does all this kind of filtering mechanism for you. So here we have the category, for example, or here we have a property, technically product, lead. So this takes information from the pages and then dynamically creates the filter here. So this is the filtered result format. Okay, but that also depends, of course, on your data structure. Maybe if your products do not have a product lifecycle phase, then this would not fit. Okie dokie. Any more questions?
You mentioned the special software platform you're using.
I'm currently working on a project for a process database. Should I even try visualizing processes, or would you say it's a pain in the ass?
So the special platform is Semantic Core. This is, let's say, Semantic MediaWiki. You can get it and from.
I have some experience in MediaWiki. I'm currently running 2.0.
Yeah.
1.23 MediaWiki.
Yeah. So in this case, we are still on 1.19, which is known as long-term support release, and with MediaWiki 1.8 release series for some reasons, composer, etc. So there are some issues. And the process format, this has been a regular process format for semantic result formats. I think it's still in the list, but it's not maintained for several years now. And then, so we had some customers working with that result format, and we, let's say, cheated it in some way to use GraphWiz still. So it has nothing to do with old process format, and I was also thinking of contributing this back, but it will not run. You need exactly this stack, and it's as you said, a pain in the ass from version to version to keep it up and running. And if you like it to have the process views like this, then it's perfect. So the customers that use exactly that format, they know how this looks like and what is the difference to BPMN representation, for example. So you need to take care of the customer needs. At the moment, I would say it's half-half. So half of the customers say, okay, that's nice because we do not need to take care about BPMN notation. It's really simple notation. You do not take care about where to place the boxes. Other customers complain about, okay, why this thing puts the box here and not there? And every time I change the process, it's arranging itself. So it depends a little bit on the domain. So 50% likes this, and the other 50% I would recommend to use a workflow engine, like with we use Activity, which is a really BPMN2 enabled platform. And maybe I have a slide deck tomorrow in my presentation. I would say there are 3 ingredients: the workflow engine, a message broker or message bus in between, and a connector to the wiki. And then you have really a process engine driving the wiki. For example, you can trigger a business process for a new project. You have your form in the process engine. You get a message through the message broker to the wiki, and the wiki page is created in the wiki. So that's the other 50%. So you can create your process in the process engine and let the wiki be the wiki.
There is, of course, I mean, a quick and dirty way is to use a normal BPM program like eFlow and just put a link to the wiki on the pages. This is the quick and dirty way, because they also have a web engine, and you can use the web engine to link to the wiki for a certain process. But the value of this thing is that the processes are in the wiki that is used on a daily basis. And if you have been into process management in business, then you know that usually the process is set up, punch 2 holes on the side, and put it to a folder, and that's it. And a year later, somebody looks at it and says, oh, well, it might have changed. And in some industries, you will see that it has changed dramatically. It's just not the same process anymore. And this is the real advantage of this automatically updating process, because it's really a live process, and it changed probably even daily.
And you can query it's collaborative, of course, but you can also query your process landscape, like we've seen with the roles. So if a new employee starts working at the company, you can exactly filter on all the processes that apply to that role. So he gets an extract of otherwise a 300, 400 pages long quality manual. And so the process management gets linked with the knowledge management. And that's the idea behind it. So the KPI is the next piece that's added. You have forms, you have an issue tracker. I didn't show this in the process. So if there is an issue with the process, you can add an issue there. Say, okay, I would like to have this and that changed in the process. You can keep an eye on who needs to do what. So you have an audit trail in the wiki. That's all pieces that can be done in a semantic process model. And that's the value of that solution. It's not all about the diagrams.
And there's also, not to forget, that there's also the opposite direction. Because the knowledge management is linked to the processes, then you have a process-based knowledge management also, because there will be not much knowledge there that is not linked to any process. And that makes it very valuable, because it makes it easier for people to decide, is this valuable knowledge or not? If the knowledge is not linked to any process, it's probably not valuable for the company at that stage, or you are missing the process.
Visualization would have been nice to have, so I think I won't share any time on it.
Yeah, it's really tricky to create these kind of things, especially to get the graph with exactly doing what you like to have.
So I will reprioritize.
Yeah.
No, but I have here a problem, because you say, okay, this is state-of-the work, etc. But if we are talking, and you were talking about quality management, so, document control and also process control, you want always management to bless the thing. You know, there must be some authority saying, okay, I'm okay with that, and this should be actually done. Is this implemented in this also, or you're just ignoring? Approved, exactly.
Yeah, this is what we see here. Maybe I really should to switch my language. So this says that this is the current as well as the approved version of this main page. And you can have this same mechanism also on the process pages, which means here you see this is the current and approved version. And you see it in the...
But these are roles in the wiki, or how is this? There's a specific people who can
make the approvers, and they can approve the page. But this means also that you can have a really live process, and people can go in and change the process, probably to adapt it to real life, because usually this is the problem. And then the manager can see, okay, this is the approved version, and this is always shown on top, but there is already a changed version. And then the manager can go in and say, okay, I accept the change, and this is the new approach.
Okay.
New approach.
But this is standard semantic MediaWiki. It's not
This is approved refs extension.
approved.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Approved refs,
what?
refs, like revisions.
Oh, okay.
It's more lightweight than the flagged revisions extension you might know, and works well here. And also works well if you are in a controlled environment. So we have several wikis running with that extension, and they passed all the audits. Some needs to have a small tweak showing the exact revision number and things like that, so we can just tweak this in cases there is need for it.
No.
Because otherwise this is here in the history, you have all this information. Here you see that this is revision 20,297, and this was done by Philip Rising on 3rd of July. You have all this information, but not on this page, and especially if you like or need to print this page, then you would like to have it here, and you can tweak it a little bit to just show it on the main line here. One more?
Yeah, it's about that again. If you have a semantic query that's getting data off one of those pages, does it get the version from the latest approved page?
Exactly.
Right.
It does not get the latest version, because if I change this page now, it tells me that the page I'm viewing is the latest approved version, but there is a more recent version. And this is important because if you are a user, you should see the last approved page and not the most recent one. If you're an editor and you edit the page, of course you would like to change the most recent page. And that's really well done in the approved reps to have on the one hand the wiki style alive, and on the other side the lockdown mechanisms and control mechanisms enabled. And in practice this works very well, and it's not so complicated as with the flag provisions. So this works nicely, and it's audit safe. Okay. So we have in half an hour some. Hast du noch ein Ding? Anyway, so if you have questions, feel free. I'm here the next 2 days.
Is that newsfeed extension standard part of the semantic bundle?
No, this is a query and some template magic. This is nothing out of the box. That's just a result format template.
Yeah, it's one that you could build without needing any extra extensions.
You can build it on your own, yeah, exactly.
It's just give me the latest, and then you limit to, let's say, 10 or so, and then you have the sending order, and that's it. So there's nothing particularly coming there.
Let me see how this is done. Not sure about the names. New stream gadget. You get an exclusive free look behind the scenes. So you see this is nothing special. So there is a little bit of CSS magic to create these boxes around the result formats. It's just a div with a class assigned to it. And here begins the interesting part. So it asks the news namespace as well as category news. Queries some of the properties. So we'd like to have the lead for this news, the news author, the release date. Limit the result set to 10 entries in that list. Get a new main label, release sorted by the release date, and so on and so on. And the format is a template. So you pass the results again to another template. So we go here. And that's the template for the output. Creates a table. This is a HTML table because the wiki syntax gets confused otherwise a little bit. So this is the nitty-gritty details you really need to know, but there is no special extension behind it. This is another template that creates the date box. Passes in the parameter number 4 is the release date of the news, and so on. So this is constructed from smaller pieces. So there's no magic behind it, it's just to know how.
But I think this is also one of the things that are very, very good at using Semantic MediaWiki, because everything is simple text. You just can do copy and paste, adapt it, and that's it. And this is really speeding up the work very much, because you create a template once, and then you can copy and paste it and adapt it to your needs. And well, I usually do not write templates from scratch, or very seldom.
Okay. Thanks.